What's going on, everyone? Real Red Politics here, and welcome back to another video on my channel. Today we're going to be discussing the New York's governor's race, and we're going to be analyzing the 2018's governor's race and kind of look at whether or not I think it will go Republican or Democrat, and we'll kind of analyze that. And then I think the next video I'm going to do will be either the New Hampshire's governor's and or Senate race, and then I'll do the Ohio Senate race. And so we're going to kind of take into account, like I said, 2018's results, and we're going to look at current polling and see what kind of trends we got going on. So, anyways, with the state of New York, we have two candidates up for election. We have the current incumbent governor, Kathy Hochul, who's an unpopular governor who is not a good governor. And then we have Lee Zeldin, who is the Republican nominee or candidate that is running against Kathy Hochul, who is actually he's a pretty decent candidate from what I've seen. And if we want to look at kind of the 2018 results of the state of New York between the incumbent governor Andrew Cuomo, who did end up resigning, he won by over 20 points, as we can see here with the election map, and we can see that the Republican lost, by 20 points or so. And so it is back then it was considered a safe blue. He was considered a safe blue state, despite Andrew Cuomo being not a good governor. He obviously did not handle situations well. He did not handle situations well these past couple of years, and he did end up resigning. So then Kathy Hochul came into office, and she's not doing a much better job. She's not really doing any better, which doesn't surprise me. But now we can kind of look at what polling we have going on here. 538 has Hochul up little over 6 points, and has Hochul up by 7.2 points, which I don't think is accurate, because Zeldin's, I know he's been campaigning pretty hard, and he's performing above what people had expected him to perform at the beginning of the election cycle. Because if we want to look way back in May, we could see that Hochul was almost little over 13 points or so. I'm sorry, 12 point, little over 12 points, 12.7 point. And then we can see then the margins widened in June and then in July again. But there was a shift. We got to August, and we're getting there to September, and then there was a huge spike, then October, and then November, and then we're getting closer to the midterms, and I think people are finally realizing that Hochul is not a good governor. She is not tough on crime. Her gun legislation and her guns is very poor. She supports she supports like a lot of gun control laws, which, as we can see in deep blue states that have those kinds of laws, really don't help. If anything, they make things worse, because law-abiding citizens have a harder time getting guns to protect themselves, protect their families and stuff. And the harder it is you give access to law-abiding citizens to have access to self-defense weapons like guns and stuff, generally your crime's going to go up, because criminals, get this, don't care about the law. So they end up getting guns and other means, and then they're the ones that end up committing crimes. And so in reality, these laws make things worse. So her proposed, like I said, her gun control, she's very weak on crime. Her handle of the economic situation there in New York isn't good at all. And so she's not a good governor. And I think Zeldin's really capitalizing on how weak on crime she is. And Lee Zeldin, he's been rather tough on crime. His gun legislation, or his beliefs about guns are better. And overall, I think he would handle better the economy in New York better and stuff. But in the end, will the state go Republican? I'm not 100% sure. There was a poll done. I don't think it shows on here. We can check though. If I remember correctly, there was a poll done by Coefficient that had Lee Zeldin up by actually a point. That had Lee Zeldin up, which is interesting. And I think a lot of these coming up right before the midterms, I think, are either underestimating Republicans or aren't taking a lot of independent voters into account. Now, if the majority of the independent voters did vote for Zeldin, would that put Zeldin over the edge? It probably would. But will the majority of independent voters vote for Zeldin? I'm not sure. I really don't know. I wish I could say yes, but I don't know because I'm not 100% clear of how trends are, work there and stuff. But we can, look at polling here. We can look at Emerson, who has Hochul up by 9. I think that's overestimating Democrats. I don't think she's gonna. If she wins the election, I don't think she's gonna win by more than 10 points. I really don't. It's not gonna be within like the over 20-point margin that that Andrew Cuomo had. It's not gonna be that big of a margin. Like I said, because people in the state of New York are done with all the crime, done with how expensive everything is, the cost of living, just rampant crime, car thefts, everything. People are done with it. And when you're not, when you don't support law enforcement and giving them the ability to help decrease crime, then that's another thing people look at and go, okay, yeah, we need a change in leadership here. And so we can look at, here's the coefficient poll, had Lee Zeldin up by 1 point in October 18th, 19th. That was a rather large sample size, and it very well could be. It might not be. I'm not sure. I don't know where they did their polling at. I really don't know. But we can look. Let's see. Let's another poll we can look at. The Emerson College again has Hochul up 9. That's probably more accurate than not. And then we can look at Data for Progress, who had Hochul up by 12. I don't think she's going to win by that margin. Like I said, I don't think if she wins, she's not going to win by more than 10. But I think more likely, it'll get within maybe 5 to 6 points. If not, like it will get within a smaller margin. And I think that really shows something. Like it shows people are done with the poor leadership. They want to change the leadership, and everything. And you may very well have some house races that flip. I don't know what house races are currently looking like. We can take a look here in a second. But Bold Decision had Hochul up by 15 points. Despite its large sample size, I don't think Hochul's going to win by 15 points. I really don't. She's not popular enough. She's not good enough. She won't win by that margin. I'm confident in that. Then you have, this poll down here who has Hochul up by 6. You have the Trafalgar Group, a Republican-funded group, or a pollster who has Hochul up by 6. And then you have the public policy polling, Democrat funded, who has Hochul up by 15. No surprise there. This was back on September 8th, though. And we can look at, like I said, current polling. The most recent polls show that the most recent one with the Emerson College shows Hochul having a 9. It's probably somewhat likely she'll reach 9, but if I had to be honest, I don't think she's going to get within more than 6 or 7 points. And let's say Lee Zeldin does flip. Okay, you still have a Democrat-controlled Congress in the state of New York, House, everything. Now, will there be some House races that flip? Yes, I think there will be. Because, if a seat in Texas that was held by a Democrat for a long time can be flipped by a Republican, then so can a House race in the state of New York. So can a House race in the state of Michigan. So can a House race in the state of Oregon. It is very possible. So, we could take a look at House races real quick to get an idea. You look at the United States House of Representatives here in the 2022 election cycle. I currently don't know which House races are held by a Republican. I don't know which House races are held by Democrats, to be completely honest. I'm just going to say that right now. But, let's see, you have the Siena College who has Malio-Takis up by 6 points. You have a Siena College that has this race in the 19th district by 5 has Riley up by 5. Santa College says in the 22nd district has Williams up by 5. So it's very possible. I don't know if those are held by Democrats or Republicans currently, but it is very possible that there are houses that flipped because Republicans are favored to win the House more than they are the Senate. But I still think I still think I still think Republicans are going to win the Senate at least 52 to 48, if not more. And I'll leave a link at the top right hand corner if you have yet to see that video. But I mean, if we want to look real quick at the generic ballot, Republicans are more favored in Congress. I think this is underestimating Republicans and overestimating Democrats, because like we can, looking at the approval rating of Joe Biden, from what I understand, it's very low. And here, I mean, Joe Biden's approval rating 46%, 41%. That's high because he's not doing a good job at all. He's not done a good job at all during his presidency whatsoever. So I think this is all. I mean, we can look. There was that points where he was below 30%, but that's not the topic of today's discussion. Today we want to look at again, there's the governor's race in New York, and so in the end, if okay, let's say in the ideal circumstances, Zeldin wins. How much will it be by? 1 to 2 points. Maybe 3. But I don't think it'll get that much, just because the way the state of New York generally votes, despite it being a red wave year, everything, I think Zeldin is running the race a lot closer than it has been in past election cycles, which is a good thing. It means that Republicans are making gains in the state of New York, which means someday it could flip red. Will it flip red this election cycle? I'm not 100% confident it will. I wish we could, see it would, but I'm not sure that it will flip. But that's what I have for today's video. So if you guys did enjoy the video, be sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe. It would mean a lot. Thank you guys so much for watching. And if you guys have any ideas for, videos in the future, feel free to leave a comment, and I will take all video suggestions into account. So thank you guys so much for watching, and stay tuned for more political content.